Awesome. Okay, and we are recording. Mic check 1 2. Which camera are we looking at? There's only one camera. Hi, hello, welcome and welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Terry Mela. You have already seen from the title of the video, we are basically going to talk about do's and don'ts when dealing with a grieving friend. I decided to do this video because I'm sure we have all been at a point where, your friend experienced a loss. You wanted to be there for them, but you didn't know exactly how to do it because you're in between. You want to do the appropriate thing, but at the same time, there's a risk of ending up saying or doing something that may be wrong, that may piss them off, or anything like that. So that is the purpose of this video today. I hope that you're going to stick around and find out, and let's learn a little something. And also, I'm really sorry that door right there, it never closes entirely. It bothers me too. I'm very sorry. Every time I'm editing, I'm just it just doesn't close. I'm sorry. So I divided this into two, the do's and the don'ts. And I thought that it would be better if we start with the don'ts because, we're trying to have a can-do attitude here. So we want to start with what you shouldn't do so that we can end the video with what you should do, what you can do. Let's start with what you shouldn't do, which is number one. Don't say. These are the things that you shouldn't say to them. I also wrote them down, so if I'm looking here, that's the notes are right here. The first thing that you shouldn't say is, I know or understand how you feel. I'm going to expound that in a minute. The second thing, I'm going to mention three things that you shouldn't say because they have the same concept. It was God's plan. You loved him, but he loved him more. Everything happens for a reason. Or saying this person is in a better place. You see, in that moment, that person is grieving. This person is experiencing such a great loss, and you're telling them that the person is in a better place. In this moment, nothing makes sense. So you're trying to bring logic into that situation doesn't exactly help because they're thinking, what is a better place for my dad to be other than with my family? So please don't say that to them. Don't like impose your beliefs on them that God loved them more. They don't need that in that moment because all they want right now is, I just want my dad back. I just want my family member back. I want my relative back. It doesn't help them. The next thing you shouldn't say is, be strong or snap out of it or it's time to move on. We're also going to expound on that. Don't worry. The other thing, at least what, or on the positive side, yes, again, you're trying to help. We get that you're trying to help, but this person is supposed to be the one who's coming up, with the silver lining, not, you looking for it for them. For example, they have lost a child and you're saying, at least you have other kids you're going to love, at least you have a husband, at least, because it still doesn't make sense. They just want their child back. Just let them be the ones who are going to look for the positive things in that situation. For example, with the loss of a kid, telling them you can always have other kids, you still have a husband, this child is not replaceable in the event of like a miscarriage. This is not like lip gloss that you can just, you lose it and you're like, yeah, we'll buy another one. It doesn't work like that. This was a whole child. This was a whole human being that they had developed a whole connection to, and they were the child as an individual. Just because she will have another child does not mean this child will cover for the one that she had lost before, so don't tell her, you can always to continue with this video. There are things that we will keep referring back to, so we also refer back to that. Next, I think you should what, because we think that grieving looks the same for everybody. So you're telling them, I think you should do this, I think you should do that, when it does not look the same for everyone. It's different. People have been through us, which it's not a lie, it's not a lie. But again, this is not the time to bring logic into it and to start telling them, the people who have lost 4 family members at once, you just lost one, it was just your grandfather, he wasn't even that close. No, don't say that. And the last one, everybody dies, or it was their time. Again, true, everybody dies. Yes, we are mortal beings, but they don't need to hear that. Now that's just what you don't need to say. Still under don't, but no, this is not saying. So don't invalidate their grief, because first of all, grief isn't just over a person. It can be over a pet. It can be, like I already said, a miscarriage. They didn't have this child, but that was still a human being. It can even be over a certain period of time in their lives that, they feel that it's well past them and they're never going to go back to that. That can still count as grief. So, don't invalidate them and tell them, it was just a pet. That was something that was sentimental to them. It had value to them. So they are very valid for them to feel and to go through that loss. Don't try to change the subject. When you show up at their house and then you're just like, so the sky, some beautiful sky out there. No, like you should be able to, accept and also like acknowledge that this actually happened, and let's deal with this. Not just be there and pretend like everything is okay when it's actually not. Don't compare experiences unless you have been asked to. I also know how that may sound, because you may think, you also lost, you may have also lost a dad like they did, but the dynamics in the family aren't always the same. You may not entirely have felt what they are feeling in that moment. But if they ask you to, talk about you as them, that's okay, you can do it. But just don't do it when it's unsolicited. Ukiulizwa and they tell you, okay, can you share about this? Now you can talk and be like, this is what happened, this is what I went through during my grieving period. Next, you don't always have to fix things for them. You don't have to cheer them up. You don't have to look for a silver lining. What they need is someone to just sit with them in that moment, in that darkness, and just feel it with them. Not you show up and it's like, okay, so let's do this again. I know you have, like, your intentions are good, but they are supposed to be able to go through it, not the whole time we're just moving them away from that moment. Unless if they also ask a change of mind, at least something new, you can offer, like, okay, we can watch a movie, we can do this, but don't just show up and try to, entirely steer away from that conversation. Don't avoid them. I know, don't avoid them, because you may feel like, okay, they need space, okay, they may not entirely need that. Actually, that is the time that they need their friends most, because we are talking about a friend. They may need their friend most. So show up, do something, at least just reach out. And finally, don't force them to open up. Yes, because people are different. There are people who will want to talk about it at that time, and the people who will not want to talk about it. So you just, now that is where that's where we're moving to in the next part of the video, which is what you can do and what you can say. But don't force them to open up. But now you have to tell me what happened. Yeah, just let them be. Moving on to the things that you can say. They are very, very simple things. Number one is, I don't know what to say, but know that I care for you and I love you well, depending on, the kind of friendship that you have. This is because a lot of times we have this feeling that we need to say something, because we think that we can fix it for them. But the truth is, there's nothing you can say that can fix it. So it's really okay for you to acknowledge and let them know that I genuinely don't know what to tell you to make this situation better, but just know that I care and I love you. And another one, also still related, I'm here if you need anything, or I'm here to listen. It's an opening for them. That they can take and say, okay, I want to say this, I want to say that. And finally, if there's anything that I can do, let me know. Now, let me tell you, this is better than saying, what can I do to help? Because saying, what can I do to help, it makes them feel like they have like a time crunch. They have to figure out right now, okay, what can you do to help? Saying, if there's anything that I can do, let me know. That's like a wider timeline. Anytime that they want, they can reach out. That is much better than the one for now. What do you want? What can I do? How can I, what you can do? One, reach out. You can reach out. For example, you can visit them. So you can sit with them in silence and allow them to cry, listen to them. You can listen to them talk or vent, and you can just hug them. It can just be as simple as that. Just your presence is really what is important. Number 3, you can accept that you're limited as a human. So you can't fix it, accept that you can't fix it. There's nothing you can do or say that will entirely take away that situation from them in that time. And so you just understand that all they need right now is your support as they go through that grieving moment. Because you can't, because I know it hurts so much to see your friend going through it and knowing that there's nothing that you can do, but that's just it. you just, the sooner you accept that, the better, so you can support them in ways that we are about to mention. Maintain the support even after funerals, because the thing is, a lot of times after the person has been buried, that is where all the support, like everybody now just goes home and they're like, okay, now they're fine. After that is when they still need your support, because you know now this is the process of, now they have to start accepting it properly and understanding that this person is really not going to come back. So we can maintain your support also by reaching out on the special days. For example, it could be the person's birthday, their anniversary, even holidays, because these are times where the memories are really coming up a lot more than the regular days. So you know, just show up and let them, you know, it's not about that he's saying a lot. Let them know that, you know, you are with them, they're not alone in that, and that could really, it could make a difference. It really could make a difference. Next is that acknowledge the situation that the person did die instead of pretending that it didn't happen. Ask how they feel, accept it, and don't try to convince them out of it. For example, at they're talking and they're saying how, you know, they have lost their grandfather and it's affecting them, and you're like, but you barely even knew the guy, you know, you knew him for what, 2 years or something. It can't be that. Don't invalidate that. Here are the practical ways of support that you can extend to the person who is grieving. Number one, you can help with the funeral arrangements. You can do the chores for them. You can at least wash the dishes or do something, because at that time that is literally at the back of their mind. That's their last thought. You can help them with the shopping, or you can shop for them. You can cook or bake something and then, you know, just take it to them. You can send a card. You can offer to babysit, you know, for example, if it's a parent and you're like, okay, I can watch your child for this day, I can do this, I can do that. You can also take them for walks or dates. That's not all you can do. There are still other things. Those are just an example. Next, you can understand the grieving process. I'll just say the stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then there is acceptance. So we can go and see what there is to all those 5 stages. Now, this, it's so important for you to at least understand or have an idea of how the stages are, so that you can understand and be able to know what is going on, you know, even from how they're acting, and even when you can get at least something, how they may be feeling or what they may be thinking. You know, it's at least, it's helpful. And also understand that grief isn't linear, in the sense that the person can be okay today and then tomorrow it feels like it's happening all over again. So you don't ask them, see, you were okay yesterday, kwani, what is happening, why are you like this today? You know, it really doesn't mean, just because they are past a stage doesn't mean that they may not regress back into that stage. Finally, professional help. I think that is very, very important, because like I've already said, we are limited, and you can even be limited in the knowledge area. So it is very important for them to, you know, be dealing with someone who is trained in that area, so they will know the exact ways how to help them. So yes, professional help is very important. And as we wrap up the video, these are the 3 key things that really, they just stood out to me when I was even preparing for this. And number one, I have already said, you don't always have to say things to them, just listen more, because it's understandable. See, the thing is, it's understandable that you're trying to help, you have their best interest at heart, but you may end up saying something. For example, the one who's saying they're in a better place, of course they didn't mean to start a fight, but they may end up in a place where it's like, you know, it becomes a whole controversial moment, and they're like, oh, so you think, you know, it could be it just may not end up being a really good situation. But 2, it's very important for the person to have a safe space to process the grief in a healthy way, which is, I have been insisting this entire video, why it's really important for them to be able to talk, to feel it out, to have people who they can, you know, they won't have a judgment when they're doing anything, when they're going through that process. Because if you don't go through the process in a healthy manner, if you suppress this, it will start showing up in other aspects of their lives. It may even start looking as you know, projection, and you're wondering, why do they have so much anger towards things they have, because they never got to process it. And also it may end up in complicated grief, which is a whole other story. So it is really important for them to deal with it as it is in that moment. So a safe space is really important. And finally, you as a friend who is trying to be there for them, it's also very important for you to take care of yourself, because as human beings, when you're with them in that kind of moment, it will also affect you emotionally. So it is important for you to have things that are keeping you sane throughout that period, to have things that are keeping you afloat, at least, because you can't pour from an empty cup. For you to be able to help them, you also need to be in a positive, in a good mind space. I really, really hope that this was helpful, and you know, you already know the drill: like, share. I'm genuinely asking you to share this video, because it's very, very important. for people to know about this. I really loved this, genuinely. I genuinely loved this, and I hope that we'll have more spaces to talk about these kind of things because it felt so good. I had gone for one talk a few months ago and seeing how people are talking about these things that normally we wouldn't mention in an open space like that, it really touched my heart, and I say that I want more. I want better for people, for other people. So yes, that's why I'm insisting, please share this video, just do something. Let's keep this line going. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.